in Arabic, in the Arabic language, there are three types of words. There are three general categories of words. Okay? The first category, well, we'll start with the fi'l. The fi'l. Okay? The fi'l. Second category, ism. Third category is harf. Okay, so there are three types of words in the Arabic language. All right? There's two things that are going to differentiate each type of word from the other. Two things. We're going to ask, does the word have a relation to time? Does it have a past, present, or future tense? And we're going to ask, does it have a complete meaning? These are the two criteria that we want to use to analyze what type of word or what category each word is going to go into. All right? Now the fi'l, it has both a complete meaning and a relation to time. It has both a complete meaning and a relation to time. Okay, so for example, verbs in English, they have a complete meaning and a relation to time. We'll give you an example in the Arabic language. Kataba. Kataba. It means he wrote. He wrote. Does it have a relation to time? Kataba means he wrote. Does it have a relation to time? Yes, it has a relation to time. It happened in the past. He wrote. This is the past tense. So that's why we check off time. Does it have a complete meaning? Yes, it has a complete meaning. We know what that means. He wrote. So this is the fi'l. The next category is the ism. The ism has a complete meaning, but it does not have a relation to time. It does not have a past, present, or future tense. So for example, qalam. Qalam means pen. Pen. That has a complete meaning, but it does not have a relation to time. It doesn't have a past, present, or future tense. That's the second category. The harf does not have a complete meaning on its own, let alone a relation to time. It doesn't have a complete meaning on its own. Okay, so an example of that would be fi, which means in. Fi, in. It does not have a complete meaning on its own, but rather it needs to be paired with, for example, an ism for it to make sense. Okay? So, fi, in, doesn't make sense on its own, but if you say in the book, in the house, now it has a meaning. So, these are the three types of words in Arabic. All the different words that we find in the Arabic language, it's going to fall under one of these three categories: the fi'l, the ism, and the harf. And we can define them according to whether or not each one has a complete meaning or a relation to time. The fi'l, it has both a complete meaning and a relation to time, similar to verbs in English. Okay? The ism has a complete meaning but no relation to time, like nouns, adjectives. And the harf doesn't have a complete meaning on its own, like prepositions: in, on, with. Okay? Now I'm going to quiz the chat. And let's see who was paying attention. Question number 1. How many types of words are there in the Arabic language? How many types of words are there in the Arabic language? Very good. There are 3. There are 3 types of words in the Arabic language. Who can tell me the 2 ways that we differentiate the different types of words from one another? What are the 2 criteria that we analyze to see which type of word it is? Yes, very good. Does it have a relation to time, and does it have a complete meaning? So which one has both a complete meaning and a relation to time? Which has both a complete meaning and a relation to time? It has both. The fi'l, very good. The fi'l. The fi'l. Let's write some examples of the fi'l. For those of you who can't read Arabic, I'll put some transliteration, all right? The fi'l, it has both a complete meaning and a relation to time. This is the first category. So, for example, ذهب. ذهب. This means he went. He went. So, what's the relation to time? What's the tense? Is it the past, present, or future tense? If we say he went, right? If Muhammad went somewhere, he went, ذهب. When? When did he go somewhere? In the past. In the past. So this has a relation to time and it has a complete meaning. And what we want to do is we want to start building our vocabulary. So first we understand the different categories of words. Then we want to build our vocabulary. So for example, ذهب, we know it means he went. Something else that is interesting that we can add for those learning is ذهبت. ذهبت means she went. ذهب, he went. ذهبت, she went. All that we did to make it feminine is we added a ta with a sukoon at the end. So what we want to do next is we want to start building our vocabulary. Let me add another word. Kharaja. Kharaja means he exited. How would we say she exited? Who knows? Based on the first example, ذهب, he went. ذهبت, she went. خرج, he exited. How would we say she exited? How would we make this feminine? Very good. Kharajat. We would add that ta marbuta. I'm sorry, we would add that ta with a sukoon at the end. Okay? So as we can see here, we add this to the end, and this is how we made this fi'l feminine. So I'll give one more example of a fi'l. Who can define this for me? What does this mean? This means, very good. This means he wrote. Kataba means he wrote. If we add the tab, it turns into she wrote. Okay, so this is the fi'l, and these are some examples of the fi'l, and we get a little taste of how we make something that is masculine, feminine. What's the second category that we learned? What is the second category that we learned? The second category, which has a complete meaning but no relation to time. The second category, which has a complete meaning but no relation to time, that is the ism. The ism. So, for example, we said qalam, which means pen. Qalam, which means pen. It has a complete meaning, but it doesn't have a relation to time. There's no past, present, or future tense, right? Kitab, book, has a complete meaning, no relation to time. Names, so these are things, but there's also names. Muhammad. Muhammad, the name Muhammad has a complete meaning, no relation to time. Also, we could say adjectives. Kabir means big. Complete meaning, no relation to time. So this is the ism. So once we understand the fi'l, we want to build our vocabulary and memorize different words. Once we know the ism, we want to build our vocabulary, memorize words. What's the third category that we learned? That does not have a complete meaning on its own. This is the third category. Does not have a complete meaning on its own. The harf. The harf. The harf does not have a complete meaning on its own. So for example, ila means to. To what? To the masjid. Okay, now it makes sense. To the airport. To the house. All right, now it makes sense. But to by itself, it doesn't have a complete meaning. Right? Ala, on. On what? On the desk. Fi, in. Min, from. Okay, all of these are examples of the harf. It does not have a complete meaning on its own. Okay? So what the student would be expected to do, right? If you really want to learn Arabic, if you get this book, for example, then you would want to memorize each type of word, the definition along with examples. And then I would want to quiz you. So for example, who can define this? Kataba. Kataba. Who can define this? What does this mean? Kataba. Very good. This means he wrote. So what type of word is kataba? Kataba means he wrote. What type of word is it? Which category? Remember, we want to check. Does it have a complete meaning? Yes, he wrote. It has a complete meaning. Does it have a relation to time? Does it have a past, present, or future tense? He wrote. Yes, it's something that happened in the past. So it has both a complete meaning and a relation to time. Therefore, it is it's a fi'l. It's a fi'l. What about this word? Min. Who can define this word for me? Min. What does min mean? Min means from. From. So by itself, min does not have a complete meaning. By itself, this word min, it does not have a complete meaning. From. Min. Therefore, it would be under the category of harf. It's a harf. What about this word? What does this word mean? Kitab. Kitab. This means book. Book. It has a complete meaning, but does it have a relation to time? No, it doesn't have a past, present, or future tense. Therefore, the fact that it has a complete meaning but no relation to time, it would be an ism. It would be an ism. And also for those of you, even if you don't know how to read, you can still benefit from this because it should hopefully encourage you to learn how to read, because hopefully you can still follow along with how the language generally works, right? You can still understand that there's 3 types of words in Arabic. There's 3 categories of words in Arabic. There is the fi'l, which has a complete meaning and a relation to time. There's the ism, which has a complete meaning and no relation to time. And there's the harf, which doesn't have a complete meaning on its own. So these are important things to understand. And we'll go to the next lesson, inshallah.